Commander Jake Morrison stood at the front window of his ship, looking out at the stars. His hands were steady, but his heart was beating fast. Today was the most important day in human history. After 3 long years of talking and waiting, humanity was finally being invited to join the Galactic Federation. The big alien ship came closer to theirs. Jake could see the strange lights blinking on its surface. Inside that ship were beings from 12 different alien races, all coming to welcome humans into their group. "Sir, they're asking us to land on their planet," said Captain Lisa Hayes from her control station. Her voice was calm, but Jake could hear the excitement underneath. They had all dreamed of this moment. Admiral Rick Carter's face appeared on the main screen, talking to them from Earth. The old man's eyes were bright with pride. "This is it, people. Today, humanity joins the galaxy." Jake nodded to his crew. "Take us down, Lisa. Let's make history." The human ship landed on Zentari Prime with a soft bump. Through the windows, Jake saw a world unlike anything on Earth. The buildings looked like they were made of crystal, reaching high into the purple sky. The trees had silver leaves that made soft music in the wind. Ambassador Paul Davis straightened his best suit and checked his papers one more time. He was nervous but ready. Next to him, Dr. Amy Foster packed her scientific equipment carefully. She had been studying alien languages for years, preparing for this day. The ship's door opened with a hiss. Jake walked out first, then Paul and Amy, then the rest of the crew. The air smelled like flowers and electricity. A tall being made of living crystal walked toward them. This was Chancellor Valdris, the leader of the Zentari people. His body caught the light and threw rainbows everywhere. When he spoke, his voice sounded like singing. "Welcome, humans of Earth. We have waited long for this day." Around the landing area, Jake saw representatives from all 12 alien races. There were the Zephyrians, who looked like giant insects with wings that sparkled. The Narians moved in tanks of water, their fish-like bodies graceful and strange. The Photons were the strangest of all, beings made of pure light that hurt to look at directly. Each race controlled huge parts of the galaxy. Each had fleets of millions of ships. Each had technology that humans could barely understand. And now they all wanted to be friends with humanity. The ceremony was long and beautiful. The aliens sang songs in languages that sounded like music. They gave gifts of strange metals and glowing stones. They promised to share their knowledge and protect human worlds. Paul Davis signed the treaty with a pen made from Earth gold. The aliens signed with tools Jake had never seen before. As each signature was added, the crowd cheered in 12 different ways. Some whistled, some hummed, some made clicking sounds with their teeth. "Today the galaxy grows stronger, Chancellor," Valdris announced. "Today we welcome our newest brothers and sisters." Jake felt tears in his eyes. Humanity was no longer alone in the universe. The next 6 months were like a dream. Humans built colonies on 47 new worlds. The aliens shared their technology, teaching humans how to travel faster between stars and how to heal diseases that had killed millions on Earth. Lieutenant Ben Parker led mixed crews of humans and aliens on patrol missions. At first it was awkward. The aliens ate different foods and needed different air to breathe. But slowly they learned to work together. Dr. Kate Sullivan worked with alien doctors to create new medicines. The Narians knew how to fix broken bones in minutes. The Zentari could cure cancer with their crystal technology. Human doctors learned these new ways eagerly. On Earth, children learned alien languages in school. Artists painted pictures of alien worlds. Musicians tried to copy alien songs. Everyone was excited about humanity's future among the stars, but some humans were worried. General Ryan Brooks, who was in charge of protecting Earth, kept asking questions. Why had the aliens waited so long to contact humans? Why did they want to be friends now? What did they really want? Admiral Carter told him not to worry. "They're giving us everything we dreamed of, Ryan. Stop looking for problems where there aren't any." But Brooks kept watching. He noticed things that others missed. The aliens always wanted to know about human weapons. They asked many questions about how humans fought wars. They seemed very interested in human military bases and ships. Jake Morrison was now commanding a joint patrol with alien officers. He liked working with them, but sometimes he caught them whispering in their own languages when they thought humans weren't listening. When he asked what they were talking about, they always said it was nothing important. Dr. Amy Foster made friends with many alien scientists. They taught her amazing things about space and time and energy. But she noticed they never let her see their most advanced technology. There were always rooms on their ships that humans weren't allowed to enter. The colonies grew quickly. Families left Earth to start new lives on alien worlds. Farmers planted Earth crops in alien soil. Children played with alien children, learning games from across the galaxy. New Terra was the largest human colony, with over 2 million people. It had schools and hospitals and parks just like Earth cities. The colonists felt safe under the protection of the Galactic Federation. But in the shadows, the alien leaders were meeting in secret. They spoke in worried voices about the humans and their rapid growth. The Zephyrian Queen buzzed angrily about human birth rates. The Photon Archon pulsed with concern about human creativity. They learn too fast, Chancellor Valdris said in one secret meeting. They adapt too quickly. They ask too many questions. They will become a threat, agreed the Nerian Emperor, his gills fluttering with anxiety. We have seen how they fight on their homeworld. They are natural warriors. The alien leaders had been watching human history. They had seen the wars, the conquests, the way humans spread across their planet. They had watched humans turn from simple hunters into builders of cities and ships that could reach the stars. They are too dangerous, the Zephyrian Queen declared. If we let them grow strong, they will eventually challenge us for control of the galaxy. The vote was taken in secret. 12 alien races, 12 votes. The decision was unanimous. Humanity must be destroyed before it became too powerful to stop. The plan was perfect. The aliens had studied human military tactics for months. They knew where every human ship was located. They had maps of every colony. They had infiltrated human communication systems. On Colony Day, humans across the galaxy celebrated their first year as members of the Federation. Children played in streets decorated with flowers from 12 worlds. Families gathered for feasts that mixed Earth foods with alien delicacies. At exactly the same moment on every human world, the attack began. The orbital defense platforms that aliens had helped humans build suddenly turned their weapons on the cities below. Alien ships that had been patrolling as friends opened fire on human vessels. The communication networks that connected human worlds went silent one by one. On New Terra, Jake Morrison was at a celebration dinner when the first explosions lit up the sky. The restaurant's windows shattered as alien fighters screamed overhead, firing energy weapons at anything that moved. "This can't be happening," someone screamed. But it was happening, and it was happening everywhere. Admiral Carter watched from Earth as colony after colony disappeared from the communication grid. His face went white as the reports came in. Men, women, children, all being killed by the aliens they had trusted. The attack was total and merciless. The aliens had decided that every human must die. They had planned it perfectly, striking at the moment when humans were most relaxed and happy. But as Jake Morrison's damaged ship limped back toward Earth with news of the massacre, neither he nor the aliens knew that some humans had been preparing for exactly this possibility. Hidden in the shadows of human space, weapons and ships waited that the aliens had never seen. The galaxy's rulers had just made the worst mistake in their long history. They had tried to destroy humanity, but they had only succeeded in waking up something far more dangerous than they could imagine. General Ryan Brooks had never slept well since the aliens arrived. While everyone else celebrated humanity's new friendship with the Galactic Federation, he spent his nights in the deep underground bunkers beneath the Colorado mountains, working on projects that would make the aliens very angry if they knew about them. Brooks was in charge of keeping Earth safe from any threat. Most people thought he was being too careful, but he had learned long ago that being too careful was better than being dead. He had seen how the aliens looked at human weapons. He had noticed how they asked too many questions about human military bases. "They're planning something," he told his closest officers in a meeting room buried 3 miles underground. "I can feel it. Dr. Tony Martinez looked up from his computer screen. He was tired from working 18 hours a day, but his eyes were bright with excitement. "The quantum disruptors are ready for testing, sir. If these crystal beings are really made of living crystal like our scans suggest, these weapons will tear them apart at the molecular level." Brooks nodded. Martinez had been working on weapons specifically designed to kill each type of alien. It was the kind of research that broke every treaty humanity had signed with the Federation. But Brooks didn't care about treaties. He cared about keeping his species alive. "What about the bug people?" Brooks asked. Dr. Helen Price opened a sealed container very carefully. Inside was a small vial of green liquid. "The Zephyrians share a group mind through bioelectric signals. This compound will disrupt those signals and drive them insane. One drop in their air supply and an entire hive will tear itself apart." Brooks smiled grimly. Price had been a quiet woman before the aliens came. Now she was one of his most dangerous weapons designers. The aliens would be very surprised to learn that the sweet human doctor had found 17 different ways to kill them. "And the light beings?" "Quantum containment fields," said Dr. Martinez. "They're made of energy, so we trap them in energy cages. Once they're contained, we can drain their power and use it to run our own machines." The meeting continued for hours. Each alien species had been studied in secret. Each had weaknesses that the human scientists had found and learned to exploit. The Zentari crystal people could be shattered with the right sound frequencies. The water-breathing Nerians would die if their ocean homes were boiled. The energy beings could be trapped and drained. Brooks had spent 3 years building this secret organization. On the surface, he appeared to be cooperating with the aliens. He attended their meetings and smiled at their ambassadors. But underneath he was preparing for war. Captain Luke Foster commanded the Hidden Fleet. His ships were built in secret, factories inside hollow asteroids far from alien sensors. They used human technology that the aliens thought was primitive and weak. The alien sensors couldn't detect them because they weren't looking for such simple machines. "How many ships do we have ready?" Brooks asked. 47 combat vessels, sir, each one equipped with the new weapon systems. The aliens think human ships are slow and weak, but these new ships are faster than anything they've ever seen." The human ships were indeed faster. While the aliens relied on their advanced technology, humans had gone back to basics. Simple fusion, drives that burned hot and clean, simple armor that was thick and strong, simple weapons that hit hard and never missed. "What about the sleeper agents?" Foster smiled. "They're in place on every major alien world. Scientists, technicians, maintenance workers. All of them have been secretly trained in sabotage and assassination. When the time comes, they'll cripple alien infrastructure from the inside. These agents were volunteers who had risked everything to plant themselves in alien society. They lived normal lives, worked normal jobs, and waited for the signal that would turn them into weapons. The aliens trusted them completely, never suspecting that their human helpers were really spies." Brooks walked through the secret base, looking at the preparations. In one room, soldiers trained with new weapons designed to kill aliens. In another room, engineers built communication devices that couldn't be detected or jammed by alien technology. Everything was ready. The base was called Project Blackout, and it was only one of 12 such facilities hidden around the solar system. Each base was independent, with its own supplies and weapons. Even if the aliens found and destroyed 11 of them, the 12th could still carry out the mission. That mission was simple. If the aliens ever turned against humanity, these bases would respond with total war. Not defense, not negotiation, but complete destruction of every alien species that threatened Earth. When the news came, Brooks was in his command center reviewing reports from his spy networks. The communication came from Jake Morrison's damaged ship, barely escaping from the massacre at New Terra. "They did it." Morrison's voice crackled through the speakers. "They attacked all the colonies at once. Millions are dead. The aliens are trying to kill us all." Brooks felt no surprise, only cold satisfaction. He had been right. The aliens were not friends. They were enemies who had been planning humanity's destruction from the beginning. "Activate Protocol 7, he commanded. Across the solar system, hidden bases came to life. Weapons that had been built in secret were loaded onto ships. Soldiers who had trained for this moment put on their armor. Scientists who had spent years studying alien weaknesses prepared their most deadly creations. President Danny Wells appeared on Brooks's screen. The president's face was pale with shock. "Ryan, the report's coming in. It's genocide. They're killing everyone, even the children." "Oh, sir, we're ready to respond." "What do you mean, ready? We have maybe 100 ships that survived their attack. They have millions." Brooks smiled for the first time in years. "Mr. President, we have something they don't expect. We have something they can't defend against." "What's that?" "Humans who are really, really angry." Admiral Carter took command of the response fleet from his flagship, the UES Retribution. The ship was new, built with technology the aliens had never seen. It was painted black and carried weapons that broke every law of civilized warfare. "Sir, we're receiving surrender offers from several alien governments," reported his communications officer. "They're claiming the attack was a mistake, that they want to negotiate." Carter's face was stone. "Tell them we're not interested in their apologies. Tell them we're coming for them." The human fleet began to move. These were not the ships the aliens had seen before. These were vessels built for one purpose, to bring death to humanity's enemies. They moved silently through space, invisible to alien sensors, carrying weapons that would turn alien worlds into graveyards. Dr. Martinez watched from the bridge as his quantum disruptors were loaded into the ship's weapon systems. He thought about the alien scientists who had worked with him, who had shared their knowledge and seemed to be his friends. They had been lying the whole time, planning to kill him and everyone he loved. "How long until we reach the first target?" Carter asked. 6 hours, sir. The Nurian home system." "Good. They wanted to exterminate us because they thought we were dangerous. Today we proved them right." The message went out to every surviving human in the galaxy. Carter's voice was calm and cold as he spoke to his scattered people. "They tried to destroy us because they feared what we might become. They were afraid we would challenge their control of the galaxy. They were afraid we would take their place as the rulers of the stars." The transmission continued across space, reaching human survivors hiding on destroyed worlds, human prisoners in alien camps, human refugees fleeing the massacre. "Today we show them that their fears were completely justified. Today we begin the hunt. We will not stop until every alien species that participated in this genocide is extinct. We will not negotiate. We will not show mercy. We will not stop." The alien governments received copies of the transmission. For the first time in their long history, the rulers of the galaxy felt true fear. They had awakened something that they could not control, could not reason with, could not stop. The humans were coming, and they were bringing with them the fury of a species that had been betrayed. The galaxy would never be the same. The Nurian homeworld of Aquatica had never seen war. For 12,000 years, the water people had lived in peace beneath their planet's endless oceans. Their cities were built in the deepest trenches, where the pressure was so great that no other species could visit them. They thought they were completely safe. Commander Steve Wright's ship approached the planet like a silent shadow. The Nerians had no idea what was coming. Their sensors couldn't detect the human vessel because it used technology they had never seen before. Wright smiled as he looked at the blue world below. Soon, it would be a very different color. "Target the thermal vents," he ordered his weapons officer. All of them. The Nerians had built their civilization around the hot water that came up from the planet's core. These thermal vents powered their cities and warmed their homes. They also kept the ocean at the right temperature for Nerian survival. Wright's weapons were about to change that forever. The electromagnetic pulse bombs fell silently through the water. When they exploded, they didn't make noise or fire. Instead, they created invisible waves of energy that made the water itself boil. The thermal vents began to overheat, pouring superheated water into the ocean. Deep beneath the waves, Nerian children were playing in their school courtyards when the water temperature began to rise. At first, it felt like a nice warm bath. Then, it became uncomfortably hot. Then it began to cook them alive. The Nerian Emperor sent desperate messages to the human fleet. "Please stop. We surrender. We will give you anything you want. Wright's response was simple. You had your chance for mercy. You chose genocide instead. The ocean continued to heat up. Nerian cities that had stood for thousands of years began to collapse as their inhabitants fled toward the surface. But there was nowhere to go. The entire planet was becoming a boiling pot, and the Nerians were trapped inside it. Within 6 hours, the homeworld of the Nerian Empire was completely lifeless. The oceans had turned to steam, and the cities were empty ruins on the seafloor. An entire species had been reduced to nothing more than bones scattered in the mist. Captain Nancy Bell was attacking the Zephyrian hive worlds at the same time. The insect people lived in massive colonies, millions of them working together like a single organism. Their group mind made them incredibly efficient, but it also made them vulnerable in ways they had never considered. The Zephyrians communicated through bioelectric signals that connected every individual to the collective consciousness. Bell's ships carried jammers that could disrupt these signals, but she had something even more effective. Dr. Helen Price's biological weapon. Deploy the aerosol canisters, Bell ordered, as her ships flew over the largest hive city. The canisters opened in the atmosphere, releasing a green mist that settled over the insect colonies like morning dew. The Zephyrians breathed in the poison without knowing it. At first, nothing happened. Then, one by one, they began to lose their connection to the hive mind. For creatures who had never existed as individuals, the experience was terrifying and maddening. Queen Vespa felt her people's minds slipping away from her control. Warriors began attacking their own soldiers. Workers stopped following orders and wandered aimlessly through the tunnels. The perfect organization of the hive collapsed into chaos. What have you done to us? She broadcast to the human ships. We gave you exactly what you tried to give us, Bell replied. Extinction. The Zephyrian hive worlds tore themselves apart from the inside, without their collective consciousness to guide them. The insect people became just confused bugs, running in circles until they died of exhaustion or were killed by their own kind. Major Carl Johnson was leading the assault on Luminous, the energy world where the photon beings lived. These creatures were made of pure light and had always considered themselves superior to all matter-based life forms. They had no physical bodies that could be hurt, no cities that could be destroyed. They thought they were invincible. Johnson's ships carried quantum siphons, devices that Dr. Martinez had designed specifically to trap energy beings. The siphons created containment fields that could hold living light the same way a jar could hold fireflies. Begin the harvest, Johnson commanded. The siphons activated all across the planet. Invisible nets of quantum energy spread through the atmosphere, catching the photon beings as they tried to flee. The creatures of light found themselves trapped in human-made prisons, unable to escape or fight back. Archon Flux, the leader of the photons, was one of the first to be captured. As he struggled inside the containment field, he felt his energy being slowly drained away. The humans weren't just killing the photons, they were stealing their life force to power human machines. This is impossible. Flux pulsed weakly. We are beings of pure energy. We cannot be contained by primitive matter. You're right, Johnson said, watching the energy levels in his ship's power systems rise as they fed on captured photons. You can't be contained by primitive matter. Good thing we're not primitive anymore. The photon homeworld became a collection station for human energy needs. What had once been proud beings of living light were now nothing more than batteries, their essence used to power the human war machine. On the capital world of Nexus Prime, the remaining alien leaders watched their species die one by one. Chancellor Valdris's crystal body was flickering with stress patterns as he tried to understand what was happening. How are they doing this? He asked the emergency council. Our fleets outnumber theirs 1,000 to 1. Our technology is superior. How are they winning? High Queen Vespa, speaking through one of her few remaining drones, buzzed with fear. They know our weaknesses. They studied us while we thought they were our friends. They prepared for this war while we were planning their genocide. The truth was becoming clear to the alien leaders. While they had been focused on destroying humanity, The humans had been learning everything they could about their enemies. Every friendly conversation had been a spy mission. Every shared meal had been an intelligence-gathering operation. Every scientific collaboration had been a chance to find alien vulnerabilities. General Brooks had been right to distrust them. While the aliens were planning genocide, the humans were planning something much worse: total conquest. The Federation. Fleet tried to mount a counterattack, but their ships were designed for policing a peaceful galaxy, not fighting a war against an enemy that understood their every weakness. Human ships appeared and disappeared like ghosts, striking at crucial targets and vanishing before the aliens could respond. Admiral Carter coordinated the campaign from his flagship. Each victory brought new resources and new information. Humans weren't just winning battles. They were capturing entire alien fleets intact, learning their technology, and turning it against its creators. "Sir, we're receiving surrender offers from the Tentacled Ones, the Rock Eaters, and the Gasbag Confederation," reported his communications officer. Carter studied the tactical display. 3 species down, 9 to go. The remaining aliens were starting to panic, but it was too late for surrender. The humans had learned not to trust alien promises. "Tell them we'll consider their surrender after we've finished with the others," Carter replied. "But make it clear that surrender means complete submission to human authority. No negotiations, no conditions, no mercy." The word spread across the galaxy. The humans weren't just fighting a war of revenge. They were implementing a plan of total galactic conquest. Every species that had voted for human extinction would now face the same choice: serve humanity or join the extinct. The galaxy's rulers, who had once feared that humans might someday challenge their authority, now realized that their worst nightmares were coming true. The humans weren't just challenging them, they were replacing them, and there was nothing the aliens could do to stop it. The siege of Nexus Prime began at dawn on the capital world of the Galactic Federation. Admiral Carter's fleet surrounded the planet like a dark cloud, blocking out the stars. For the first time in 12,000 years, the seat of galactic power was under attack. Chancellor Valdris stood in his crystal tower, watching the human ships take their positions. His body was cracking under stress, rainbow light bleeding from the fractures in his crystalline form. Around him, the remaining alien leaders had gathered for what they all knew might be their final meeting. "We must try to negotiate," said Ambassador Helix of the Spiral People, his tentacles writhing with fear. "Surely they will listen to reason." "They are beyond reason," replied Queen Chitina of the Shell Walkers, her hard shell clicking nervously. "We created monsters when we tried to destroy them." Valdris activated the planetary communication system. His voice reached every human ship in the fleet. "Admiral Carter, I speak for the Galactic Federation. We offer you complete surrender. We will restore your colonies, give you our technology, and grant you equal membership in our government." Carter's response came back cold and clear. "The Federation is finished. Your species will serve humanity or face extinction. You have 1 hour to decide." On the planet below, panic spread through the alien populations. The citizens who had once felt safe under Federation protection now realized that their leaders had doomed them all. Some tried to flee in small ships, but human fighters shot them down without warning. There would be no escape from the consequences of genocide. Captain Laura Smith led the first wave of attacks. Her ships used a new type of weapon that the aliens had never seen before. Instead of flying through normal space, they traveled through quantum tunnels that shouldn't have been possible to navigate. The aliens thought these tunnels were too dangerous for any living being to use. They were wrong. Human pilots, trained in the most dangerous conditions Earth could provide, flew through the quantum storms like they were gentle breezes. Smith's fighters appeared inside the planetary shield system, bypassing 12,000 years of Federation defense technology. In seconds. "Impossible," Valdris whispered as explosions lit up the capital city. "No one can navigate the quantum tunnels." "Humans can." Smith's voice crackled over the radio as her fighters destroyed government buildings. "We're very good at doing impossible things." Major Pete Wilson was leading ground forces that had teleported directly into the Federation's most secure facilities. The aliens had never developed teleportation technology because they thought it was too dangerous. Humans had perfected it by accepting risks that no other species would take. Wilson's soldiers appeared in the middle of the Federation Council chambers, weapons ready. The alien leaders looked at these armored humans with terror. They had spent so much time thinking of humans as primitive that they had forgotten humans were also predators. "Surrender now and you live," Wilson told them. "Keep fighting and join your friends who are already dead." The Federation's ultimate weapon was their planetary shield system. It had been built using the combined knowledge of 12 species over thousands of years. The shield could stop any attack, deflect any weapon, protect against any invasion. It was supposed to be unbreakable. Dr. Amy Foster had spent 2 years studying the shield's quantum signatures. She had pretended to be interested in alien science, while secretly learning how to destroy their greatest defense. Her countermeasures didn't just break through the shields. They turned the shields into weapons against their creators. "Activate the reversal protocol," Foster commanded from her position aboard Carter's flagship. The planetary shields began to glow brighter and brighter. Instead of protecting the planet, they started to focus energy inward. The same technology that had kept enemies out was now trapping the aliens inside a growing furnace. "What are you doing?" Valdris screamed as his crystal tower began to melt from the heat. "We're giving you exactly what you tried to give us," Foster replied. "Complete annihilation." The capital city of Nexus Prime burned with the light of a small star. Buildings that had stood for millennia crumbled to dust. The crystal spires that had been the pride of the Federation melted like ice in summer. The aliens who had ruled the galaxy for so long ran through their streets like panicked animals, looking for shelter that no longer existed. Captain Jake Morrison, now commanding the assault carrier UES Vengeance, watched the destruction from orbit. He thought about his friends who had died in the genocide, about the children who had been murdered while they played, about the families destroyed by alien treachery. "Sir, we're receiving multiple surrender signals from across the planet," his communications officer reported. "Ignore them," Morrison replied. "They had their chance to surrender before they started killing our people." The Zentari homeworld was next. Commander Steve Wright, fresh from his victory at Aquatica, brought his fleet to the crystal planet where Chancellor Valdris's people had lived for millions of years. The Zentari had always been proud of their crystal cities, which rang like bells in the wind and caught starlight in beautiful patterns. Wright's ships carried sonic weapons designed specifically to shatter crystal structures. The weapons produced sound waves that resonated at exactly the frequency needed to tear apart Zentari molecular bonds. When the first bombs fell, the entire planet began to sing a death song. The crystal cities shattered like glass. The Zentari people, whose bodies were living crystal, cracked and broke apart as the sonic waves washed over them. Entire populations turned to dust in seconds. Their beautiful forms reduced to glittering powder that blew away in the wind. "Please stop," begged Sub-Chancellor Prism, one of the few Zentari leaders still alive. "We were wrong to try to destroy you. We admit our mistake." "Mistakes have consequences," Wright replied as another wave of sonic weapons turned a crystal mountain range into a pile of broken glass. "This is yours." The ocean worlds of the Narian Empire were already dead. Their seas turned to steam, and their cities, empty ruins. Now the remaining Narian colonies faced the same fate. Human ships appeared in their systems carrying weapons that boiled water from space, turning every ocean planet into a lifeless desert. General Brooks coordinated the final campaign from his command center deep beneath Earth. His screen showed the progress of human forces across the galaxy. Red dots marked dead alien worlds. Blue dots showed planets under human control. Yellow dots indicated resistance that was being eliminated. "Sir, the tentacled ones are offering to become our slaves if we spare their homeworld," reported one of his officers. "Too late," Brooks replied. "They should have thought about that before they voted to exterminate us." The message went out to every surviving alien in the galaxy. It was broadcast on all frequencies, in all languages, to every corner of space that had once been under Federation control. "This is Admiral Carter of the Human Galactic Fleet. The Federation is dissolved. Your governments no longer exist. Your fleets are destroyed. Your homeworlds are under human control. You have two choices: submit completely to human authority or face extinction. There will be no negotiation, no compromise, no mercy. The aliens, who received this message, understood that everything had changed. The species they had tried to destroy as too dangerous had become the most dangerous force in the galaxy. The humans they had feared might someday challenge their rule had already replaced them as the new masters of the stars. In the ruins of Nexus Prime, Chancellor Valdris crawled through the rubble of his once great city. His crystal body was shattered, leaking light like blood. Around him, the other survivors whispered in fear about the terrible mistake they had made. They had been right to fear humanity. They had just been too late to do anything about it. The galaxy belonged to humans now, and every alien who remained alive would spend the rest of their existence proving that the Federation's fears had been completely justified. 5 years had passed since the Galactic Federation tried to destroy humanity. Now the galaxy had a new name: the Human Empire. Fleet Admiral Carter ruled from his palace built on the ruins of Nexus Prime, where alien leaders once made decisions that affected trillions of lives across the stars. The palace was built from the melted crystal of Zentari towers and the crushed shells of defeated alien cities. Every room displayed weapons taken from dead enemies. Every window looked out on monuments to human victory. Carter walked through these halls each morning, remembering the friends who had died in the genocide and the enemies who had paid the price. "Sir, the daily reports from the labor camps," said his aide, Captain Morrison, handing him a datapad. Morrison had survived the massacre at New Terra and now served as Carter's personal assistant. His face bore scars from that terrible day, reminders of what the aliens had tried to do. Carter read the numbers. The surviving aliens were working well. They had learned that obedience meant life, while resistance meant death. It had taken time to teach them this lesson, but humans were patient teachers when they needed to be. The Zentari were perhaps the most useful slaves. Their crystal bodies made perfect living computers for human research facilities. Dr. Tony Martinez supervised their work from his laboratory on what used to be their homeworld. The crystal beings calculated faster than any machine humans had ever built, solving problems that would take human computers years to finish. "How are they adapting to the sonic collars?" Carter asked Morrison. "Very well, sir. The collars keep them obedient. If any Zentari tries to resist or communicate with others without permission, the collar produces the exact frequency needed to crack their crystal structure. They learn quickly not to disobey." Carter nodded. The sonic collars had been Dr. Martinez's idea. Each one was tuned to the specific molecular frequency of the Zentari wearing it. One wrong move, one forbidden thought, and the collar would shatter them like glass. It was a perfect way to control a species made of living crystal. The Zephyrian survivors worked on the terraforming projects. Captain Nancy Bell managed their operations from orbital stations above dead worlds that humans were bringing back to life. The insect people's natural ability to work together made them excellent at changing entire planetary environments. The hive workers have finished the atmosphere conversion on Kepler 7, Bell reported during the morning briefing. The planet will be ready for human colonists within 6 months. The Zephyrians wore different collars than the Zentari. These collars controlled their bioelectric signals, keeping them connected to human overseers instead of their own queen. Bell could give orders directly to their minds, making them work with perfect efficiency on whatever task she assigned. "Any signs of rebellion?" Carter asked. "None, sir. They remember what happened to the hives that tried to resist. The survivors know that obedience is their only chance to stay alive." The photon species had perhaps the worst fate of all. Major Carl Johnson supervised their use as living batteries for the human fleet. What had once been proud beings of pure energy now existed in containment matrices. Their life force slowly drained to power human ships and weapons. "The energy output is steady, sir," Johnson reported. "We've learned to keep them just above the point of death. If we drain them too fast, they die and become useless. If we don't drain them enough, they might recover their strength and try to escape." Carter looked at the energy readings. Hundreds of photon beings were trapped in the ship's power core, their consciousness slowly fading as their energy was consumed. They had thought themselves superior to all matter-based life. Now they were nothing more than fuel. President Danny Wells had established the Human Colonial Authority to govern the 40,000 worlds that now belonged to humanity. Each planet displayed the same monuments, the same warnings, the same reminders of what happened to species that tried to destroy mankind. The population reports show we're ahead of schedule, Wells said during their weekly meeting. Human families are settling on former alien worlds faster than we expected. The colonies are growing strong. Human children now played in parks where alien children had once laughed. Human schools taught lessons in buildings where alien teachers had once shared their knowledge. Human farmers grew earth crops in soil that had once fed alien civilizations. The galaxy was becoming human, one world at a time. Commander Steve Wright, now governor of the former Federation core worlds, implemented what humans called the Retribution doctrine. Any alien group that showed signs of rebellion faced immediate and complete destruction. No warnings, no second chances, no mercy. The Shellwalkers on Titan Colony attempted to organize a resistance movement, Wright reported. We eliminated their entire population yesterday. The other species received the message clearly. Carter smiled. Wright had learned the lesson well. The only way to control aliens was through fear. They had to know that any act of defiance would result in the death of everyone they cared about. It was harsh, but it worked. The galaxy had been divided into human sectors, each governed by a military commander who understood the importance of maintaining order. Former alien trade routes now carried human goods. Former alien communication networks now broadcast human messages. Former alien technology now served human needs. Dr. Amy Foster worked in the Central Research Facility, studying alien technology and adapting it for human use. The beings who had created these marvels now worked as her assistants, helping her understand their own inventions before those inventions were turned against other aliens. We've made significant progress in faster-than-light travel, Foster reported. Using Zentari calculations and photon energy sources, we can build ships twice as fast as anything the Federation ever had. The human fleet grew stronger every day. Each captured alien ship was studied, improved, and added to human forces. Each defeated alien world provided resources for building more weapons. Each enslaved alien population contributed their knowledge to human advancement. In the deepest parts of the palace archives, historians recorded the true story of the war. They wanted future generations to understand exactly what had happened and why. The aliens had tried to commit genocide because they feared human potential. Their fears had been completely justified. The children need to learn, Carter told the head historian. They need to know that aliens can never be trusted. They need to understand that mercy is weakness when dealing with enemies who would kill every human man, woman, and child. Human children attended special classes where they learned about alien treachery. They saw recordings of the genocide attempt. They visited memorials built from alien bones. They learned that their parents had conquered the galaxy not for power or wealth, but for survival. The former Federation council chambers had been turned into a museum. Tourists came from across the galaxy to see the place where aliens had voted for human extinction. The voting records were displayed on the walls, showing how each species had agreed to the genocide. Visitors could see exactly which aliens wanted them dead. Every human should see this place, Carter told Morrison as they walked through the museum. They should understand what we accomplished here. We took a galaxy ruled by our enemies and made it our own. The final display in the museum was Carter's last message to the Federation, preserved exactly as he had spoken it 5 years ago. Visitors could press a button and hear his voice declaring that the alien age was over and the human age had begun. They feared we would rule them someday. They were right to be afraid. Those words had become the motto of the human empire. They were carved above the entrance to every government building, painted on the hull of every human ship, taught to every human child. They reminded everyone that the galaxy's former rulers had brought their destruction upon themselves. As Carter stood on his balcony looking out at the stars, He felt satisfied with what humanity had accomplished. The species that had tried to destroy them now served them. The worlds that had once been forbidden to humans now belonged to them. The galaxy that had once feared human potential now existed to fulfill that potential. The aliens had been right about one thing. Humans were dangerous. They had just learned that lesson too late to save themselves. The stars belonged to humanity now, and they always would.